What's up, everybody? This is BakaBites. I'm Frankfurter. That is Magically Average, and today we are giving our first impression / way too early rankings of the spring 2024 anime season. We have tallied up about 10. You said you've watched 10 first episodes.
Yes. No
I've
continuations.
Not counting shows that have continued, so that would be shows kind of like really just Delicious and Dungeon, I feel like.
Yeah. Yep.
That's really the only one that's kind of carried over from last season. But you have watched about 10 first episodes. I have fully watched about 17 and then started a couple others. So
Crazy.
we're going to give our first impressions on this season, which and just kind of talk about the shows we've been watching, what we've been enjoying, and what we have not enjoyed at all. Because there are a few stinkers out there. So first impressions of the season overall, fuck. Like, it's incredible. It's insanely, incredibly great.
Yeah.
And we still haven't even gotten, like, I mean, I know a bunch of people are up on Demon Slayer. Like, you have that to look forward to. Good on you. To me, I'm not going to watch it immediately. But then you also have, like, My Hero Academia Season 7 coming out. Like, there are still shows that have not premiered.
Mm-hmm.
And between the two of us, 27 shows. I know there's a lot of overlap over there, but, you know, it's just astounding amount of shows that both of us have watched. Let's just hop straight into it. What is something that you've watched this season that you were just like, nah, that wasn't very good?
I got to a late start for the season, I'll be honest. Like, I was scrambling to watch first episodes yesterday and today. Yeah. So I didn't get the luxury this time around to just sit down and go, let's give it a shot. I was more selective, I'll say. So that I really didn't watch anything that I kind of thought after the words, man, I'll probably just give it the one time and leave it alone. There were a few, I shouldn't even say there's a few. There's really only one that stands out as like I'll give it one more episode, but it doesn't get better. I'm just going to leave it alone. That for me was Mysterious Disappearances. I didn't enjoy it all too much. One, because I think it's going to get incredibly pervy, like the further it goes along.
Episode 1 was semi-pervy to begin with.
So it is, and then you couple that with the intro scenes, like the intro song, the OP, and I also, because the internet is the way it is, I saw like a clip of another episode. And like, there's like 2 scenes where the main character just explodes out of her clothes, just for like like the clothes just rip off in a bajillion pieces for like no reason. And it's like, all right, cool, great. We've already established that our main character is not obese, not fat. She just has massive titties for no reason, but it's just because she's a unprofessional, or I shouldn't even say unprofessional. She is an unaccomplished adult writer. And because of that, her life is subjected to being a bookstore clerk and then going home and trying to write novels, but basically just getting hammered. So she's not like fat and like, oh, I just binge eat. Nope. Everything apparently just goes to her boobs. And then but she's still incredibly attractive because there's a couple characters that want her, but you know, whatever. Like, that's annoying, but just I didn't really get the hook of it until the very end, and it seems interesting enough, which is why I said I'm probably going to give it another episode. But it really has to. They have to keep building up on what the last episode had at the very tail end. I mean,
yeah. And so I've watched this as well. I've watched the second episode. I think episode 3 premieres later this week in a few days. Yeah. 2 days from now, as of recording, so on Wednesday it'll premiere. I will say episode 2 does a better job about hooking you. I feel like this is going to be one of those types of shows that it's like 2 to 3 episode type arcs in which they surround like different not mysterious disappearances, but they revolve around different like artifacts that are cursed, essentially. And I feel like they're going to do the 2 to 3 episode thing of like doing arcs focusing around one or two or like an artifact that's causing a havoc or, in a specific area in Japan, and move on to the next one after it's been subdued. They do a better job in episode 2. I feel like the first one was, hey, here are our characters. Here's the tone of the series, but not the story. There's no plot. There's no world building. It's like, there's a little bit of world building. It's like, here's the tone. It's going to be a little kind of creepy, dark type series, which is what kind of the hook was at the end. I will say episode 2 does a better job of making it feel like it's like an actual story. So for me, I thoroughly enjoyed Mysterious Disappearances. The first one did, like you said, leave me wanting more and kind of questioning whether I will be continuing it or not. I think after this arc that they're on right now wraps up, it will definitely be one of those things of like, okay, yes, I'll continue, or no, I'll drop it.
Yeah. And again, I'm not expecting anything to just fly off the rails from the very beginning, but it felt really slow until the very end, and it, like I said, it just gave me enough to go, okay, fine, I'll go into episode 2 and see what this is like. But I think the overall premise didn't grip me so much.
Right.
So the hope is that they'll also kind of expound on that a bit more and develop it. And it sounds like they might, but I don't know. I also can't just get past the main character, and like her body doesn't make no sense.
Yeah,
nothing makes sense.
That happens in a few anime. I mean, that happens in Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid. Like that's
no, they explain it. Ululu has massive ones because that's her fire sacks. Dummy, is literally canon. Get over
okay, they made an excuse for Big Titty Girl, but they didn't make an excuse here. Whatever. Moving on. I definitely started a couple stinkers for me. There was a show that I started and I didn't even finish watching. That was God's Game We Play.
Oh God,
it's just awful. You know how like usually episode 1 of a show will just throw a decent amount of the budget in there just to draw everybody in, and then over time it'll kind of decline sometimes in quality. This one was just like, hey, we're gonna start like at the very end of our decline in quality and just throw it at you. The quality of the show is awful. The story to me just wasn't intriguing at all. It's about basically gods coming to the earth and them enjoying playing games with humans and just being very lopsided, in which humanity can never win these games, except there's one kid who seems to be able to win, and he gets paired up with a god who was frozen in ice for God knows how long, pun intended, and yeah, is just basically her babysitter at that point, so she doesn't fucking kill the world, so he keeps her occupied. It really was not good. I did not enjoy it. I dropped it like halfway through the episode. They were doing character introductions. I was like, nope, I'm good. This is just awful. So that one was a stinker. I watched one while I was eating dinner tonight, just out of morbid curiosity. Astronaut. I watched episode 1. Yeah, I was getting very much the vibe of what's the series that we really liked that it got an anime adaptation like 2 seasons ago and it was really shit? God, hold on. It was A Galaxy Next Door. I was getting a Galaxy Next Door vibes from it, minus the fact that it isn't as wholesome and then the guy comes to them, not the girl comes to them.
Yeah.
But basically, just this girl puts up an ad for a cook needing, or like their house that they live in, the kind of just combined joined living where it's like a big house and everybody has a room. I guess a hostel is a good word for it. But they end up like the person who just takes over this hostel or this home puts out an ad saying like, hey, we need a cook because the landlord who lived there before just passed away and he provided breakfast for all the residents. And so this guy, thinking it's like an actual job at like a restaurant, walks in and is just like, oh, it's not a restaurant job. Well, I'll still work here. And yeah, that's that. And it just introduces the cast of characters, and they're fine. Like, it's nothing to write home about. It got like a good or out of me, like a couple chuckles, chortles. But it wasn't anything that I was like super impressed with. It didn't like I didn't feel the need to watch episode 2.
You didn't get your chin into it and do the
Yeah, exactly. It was fine. The best thing about it is definitely its unique art style. I do like the art style in it, but that's not going to keep me around. It's a fine slice of life comedy.
I was gonna say the only thing that I've seen about it online so far is just the art style. Yeah, I don't think anyone's raving about the story or anything like that or the characters. It's just, wow, this art style is so much different than normal. Whoa, like look what they're doing. And it's like, yeah, cool, okay, but you still have to be interesting.
Yeah, and then the other one that I started and I still don't know how to feel about it. I've gotten 2 episodes into it. Was The Fable. And that is a show on Hulu.
Which is a shame because that was one where we were very excited about it because the premise sounds really funny. It also I feel like I got some hype in the manga too, which I found volume 1 of the manga or on the omnibus of the manga,
which recently re-released. Yeah, the omnibus is good.
Yeah, I didn't grab it though. I should have, but like I feel like people were high. I mean, granted, it's in the Hulu Disney Plus prison for the most part, but
yeah. So I watched the first, I think, episode and a half. I don't think I actually finished episode 2, and if I did, it really isn't that memorable. But it's okay. It's not the greatest. I feel like the humor tries to. I know that this, it has source material and it's out. It's been out for God knows how many years. I really don't remember when it actually came out. But the humor almost tries to be like One Punch Man. Like that's akin to what the humor is like, but it just doesn't come off correctly, in my opinion. It doesn't hit as hard as it should. And I don't know if that's because of the setting or because of the main character. I'm not sure. To me, it's one of those shows that it's like, if I have caught up on the other 15 shows that I'm watching and the other shows that I have yet to watch, because there are still some, maybe I'll give it a try again. But I think that this is going to be one that I drop. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add to this list of just like... Oh, wait, no, there was another one that I watched that I'm automatically dropping. A Condition Called Love. It's just kind of generic.
I told you. We did our preview, and I was like, this looks and sounds like a very generic cookie-cutter slice-of-life romance. Like, there's nothing unique about it. And you're like, I'm going to give it a try. It looks cute.
I like the character designs, and that's what drew me in, but the actual characters themselves just bother me. Like, the guy is very overtly, not necessarily clingy, but like, yes ma'am type, just like, hey, I will do literally anything for you, I just met you. He's the definition of like a golden retriever to the max.
Yeah.
And then the girl is just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But then also just doesn't know how to fall in love. And like, it's just like one extreme and the other, and it's not done properly. There's something off about it, and I don't know, it just wasn't my thing, so I'm dropping it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to look through the list as I'm talking to, being like, is there anything else that I'm dropping? Because I think that is all that I'm really wanting to drop. I think there's like one other maybe show that I might drop.
Yeah.
There might be 2, but that's about it, and we can get into those in a little bit.
I was like, that's my problem, is that the other 9 that I did watch, apart from continuing Delicious in Dungeon as well, which I'm actually almost enjoying Core 2 more than Core 1.
Core 2 is as somebody who's read the entire series, Core 2 is much better than Core 1.
Yeah. Like all the other 9 are either on my yes list or my absolute list. Like there's nothing I'm giving like the college try, apart from Mysterious Disappearances.
That's fair. For me, my like contingent maybes would be Whisper Me a Love Song.
You fucker. Why?
It was one of those things that it was still just like...
You just don't like love, don't you? Huh?
No, it was just really frustrating. To me, watching a show where people cannot just either not necessarily express themselves, but when they're talking and they're saying things and they're just like throwing out word salad and they're not expressing themselves like they should be.
Yeah, because
like,
it's just scary. It's scary to tell someone that you love them, especially when it's love at first sight. How the hell are you
also
gonna do
the
that?
misunderstandings that they go through.
That's
it's just
the
like
cute part. She's an airhead and she's a ditz. That's the funny part. The senpai is this very stoic.
It's a little frustrating.
The senpai is a very stoic, cool person. She's the guitarist, and the young Kohai is the dumb, klutzy airhead. Of course, there's gonna be crossing of wires. That's what's so cute about it. God,
I'm gonna keep going with it, but it's on my maybe.
I will say that as much as I did enjoy the first episode, it is one of those love stories that I almost want them to like get into the relationship by episode 3, because it's like, how long can they keep on this weird back and forth charade?
Did you watch episode 2?
No, not yet. Remember when I started at the top of this fucking episode and I was like, hey, I haven't had a lot of time lately. I had to speed run through first episodes yesterday and today, so I only watched 10. Do you remember that? Remember when I said that at the very beginning of us recording? Cool.
Couldn't be me. Anyways.
So no, to answer your question, no. But without spoiling it, like that's sort of my hope with this one, is that because I feel like, to kind of what you're getting at, if it continues on this path of like, we just can never understand one another because I speak the truth and she speaks gibberish, like it's gonna get old. So yeah, I can see it from that angle, but I have so much hope for it because it is a really cute story, and I like the fact that it's music. There's a lot of music based anime that are out this season, and I'm very excited about it. So you couple that with a very nice romance love story, like you can get me in. But
I am going to continue it because I won't spoil why, but I will continue it for at least another episode just to see. But that is on the contingency list, and the other one is A Salad Bowl of Eccentrics. Episode 1 actually took me by surprise. I was more impressed with this than I thought I ever would be. I just watched it because it was one of those things like, oh, episode 1 is out and there's nothing else to watch. Sure, I'll give it a shot. And it was funny. I found myself laughing at the stupid humor that it had, and it was pretty entertaining. And then I watched episode 2 and I thought, this is still pretty entertaining. I did not realize episode 3 is already out, so I will be watching that sometime soon. But this one was kind of a surprise for me, but at the same time, if the kind of same gags continue, I'm just be like, okay, I'm good. But I think that's episode 1 of Salad Bowl of Eccentrics was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. So that's it for my negativity for this episode. The rest will be very, very positive. But I will start, since I've been talking a lot. Tell me what you've been watching that you've been enjoying, on the medium scale, not your tippy top, but somewhere in between.
Kind of, I guess, jumbled in the middle. I would have to say the voice acting one, which if you have the live chart up, feel free to say the full name because I can't remember it.
The Many Sides of Voice Actor Radio.
Yes. That one I watched the first episode of. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think having it be high school voice actors and these clashing personalities is fun. It's just to kind of what you're getting at with Whisper Me a Love Song. This one, I have this really strong feeling in the back of my mind, and I hope it doesn't play out this way, but that their personalities aren't going to get better. They're going to get worse, and somehow they're going to become closer friends. Basically, the premise is that there's these two voice actors, one of which is this Gyaru in real life, but a very what's the correct word to use? They use it a couple of times. No, not peppy. Very reserved, very conservative type heroine character as a voice actor, and so she's seen as very innocent, but she's a Gyaru in real life. And then the other one's this very quiet, alone, isolated person, but is this kind of cheery, shy,
happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, very eccentric too, because she sings and dances and everything too. as a voice actor. But like, so their personalities are like butted heads like crazy. It was like very outspoken person who is kind of a ditz with a tsundere type character that you just want to go, no, stop, please. But I liked the first episode. I thought it was good. I like the animation style too. I think it fits very well. It's nothing crazy to write home about, but it makes the characters, especially when it's something about voice acting, you don't need it to be anything like crazy over the top. But I like what they did with the first episode. They kind of jumped right into it, which was nice to see. And you got a good sense for their personalities. But I have this like sneaking suspicion that it's going to continue on this path of their personalities are only getting worse. Will they ever find a common ground to be friends? Tune in next week. And you're like, oh God. But, and then the other one, honestly, just because I'm more worried about how it's going to continue on, is the Train to the End of the World.
I fucking hate you.
Only because, again, like I watched the first episode and yeah, I mean, like what you said before about it, like it is wild. It is crazy. I love how like just batshit insane it is. But I have this fear, and it's probably like different from what you're thinking of. I have this fear that it's gonna take like a more tame turn, and it's not going to continue on this wild path. Like, it's not going to get like even crazier as we go down the road. Like, it's going to be more tame. And I know you're giving me a face because you probably watched the next 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh, I'm fully caught up. There's 4 episodes out. I am fully caught up. Like, as soon as these episodes drop on Mondays, like at lunchtime, I go and watch it.
And I saw a thing on Twitter that the creator of Metal Gear Solid,
Hideo Kojima,
he
approved.
Yeah, like he's like they're like he watches the episodes. He's like, this is one of the few anime he's actually watching like week to week. And I was like, God damn, that says a lot about this one. So yeah, I mean,
he's a very much person who loves art for being art and just random wild shit. And this is so. I'm just gonna get into it now because this is my favorite show this season so far.
Wow,
honestly, like again, every Monday it comes out sometime in the morning. I have work, but like at lunchtime, it doesn't matter if I'm in the office, I'll go to my car, or if I'm at home, I will go to the living room. I'm watching this at lunch. I love this show because it just keeps getting fucking weirder and weirder, and I love it. It's fantastic.
I just imagine you sitting in front of your TV like a kid coming back home from school watching WB 20 or 4 Kids or whatever, but it's you with a Lunchable and a pack of Gushers, just like, oh boy, the next episode of the Train to the End of the World's out.
Yeah, no, this show has been a fucking delight from episode 1 till episode 4, which is out right now.
And like I said, like it's only on this list because again, I have this weird voice in the back of my head for some of these anime that's like, worst case scenario, it's going to suck ass, and here's why. And I go through all of my checks of like, okay, here's what could happen. If it does, yes, it's not going to be great. And that's what I did for the voice acting one, and this is what I'm doing for the Train to the End of the World. Like, I don't anticipate it being that way, just based on how the beginning
reacted.
Well, how you reacted, but also just like, for any of you who don't know, the beginning sequence is like, girl gets off a train, puts her ticket through the little ticket machine thing, people go, surprise, and then she gets captured in a giant owl that flies with drones, dumps her off the top of the building. They're like, hey, we're releasing 7G. You thought 5G was great, 6G was awesome? Yeah, 7G is the way to go. Hit that button. Hits the button, and the world goes insane. Like, I'm not going to go any further than that. But, like, that's literally the first minute and a half, of the anime. So it's like, it starts off like a bat out of hell, behind a bunch of other bats that are coming out of hell too. Like it's insane. So yeah, like again, I assume that it's going to continue along this path, if not go even further in level of craziness. But again, deep fear is, what if it doesn't? What if it goes very tame and they're trying to like just cool it down? Will you like it then? And I'm like, no, stupid voice, obviously not. So again, high hopes, just trying to keep them tempered. Unlike the other shows I want to talk about, because those ones I'm already way too deep in, and if anything happens to those, I might break down and cry.
But yeah, I agree with the many sides of voice actor radio. That one's kind of like in the middle. I'm enjoying it. I think that it's a fun, like, little comedy. It's not like anything to write home about, but it is still solidly good. Like, the voice acting work and the writing is very good. So to me, that one is like, yeah, I'm going to continue this the entire season. Unless something really fucking bad happens. Like this, It's been a fun time.
Well, I was gonna say, I also should say too, that, like, aside from Whispering a Love Song, I think the rest of them I'm going to watch all the way through. It's just a matter of like how much I will enjoy them so much. Like, because I'm going to finish Train to the End of the World. I'm going to finish the voice acting one. I'm gonna finish the rest of the ones that we're gonna talk about. So, it's more or less like, will I continue to enjoy it at the level that I'm already enjoying it? That's kind of yet to be determined.
That's fair. One show that I've enjoyed it's still in the middle ground, but it's also one of those things that it's like I've read ahead in the manga, so I know what's going to happen, and I've been enjoying it. Go Go Loser Ranger, which I'm trying to find on this list here because I'm just.
It's on Hulu and Disney Plus.
It doesn't even show on livechart.me, but yes, it is on Hulu / I know, right? It's wild.
No, it does. It's there. You just got to find it.
I literally just controlled find go, and nothing pops up.
Did you do go !! Space go !
Nope, I didn't. I just typed in Ranger, and there it is. Okay, it's there.
Big old dummy. God. For those of you listening and watching, this is what I deal with.
Go Go Loser Ranger is a fun one. I'm just trying to think in my mind where they're going to stop season 1, and I feel like I know, and it's just like, okay, season 1 is going to be great if that's where they stop. If they go any further, I think that's where I'm going to start having my, like, this is going to be a little bit of a slog to get through. Spoiler alert, a tournament arc is incoming.
Oh!
Yeah, so...
The first episode is whatever.
The first episode was good. I enjoyed the first episode, and it's gotten better since. I haven't watched episode 3 yet, so... Yeah, but I think everything that's on Hulu this season is just right in the middle. I thought it was going to be better, but it's just ended up in the middle. So the Fable, Go Go Loser Ranger, and then also Mission Yozakura Family. I like that one probably the most out of the 3 that are on Hulu this season. I haven't read any of the weekly chapters that come out on Shonen Jump. This is a series that I've been meaning to start, but I just haven't. It's a good little fun show, but it's nothing like, again, it's a shonen show. It's nothing to really write home about. It's just okay. It's just good.
Yeah.
But I've been enjoying my time with it because it is over the top and it is kind of funny. So it's just one of those things that it's like, cool, I'm going to continue this because it's enjoyable. But it's not the best thing since sliced bread. So just know, everything on Hulu, not the best thing since sliced bread, but it's still enjoyable.
Can I say
like
something?
Sliced bread.
Can I say something somewhat contentious about Go Go Loser Ranger?
Sure.
I think it's going to be the Shy of this season.
Ooh, it's got better production value than Shy did.
Shy was fine. Production-wise, it was fine. I meant just like in terms of seeing the adaptation from, manga to anime, I feel like it's going to have a similar hit where like you watch through it and you're like, it's good. And that's kind of the end of your thoughts. You don't really explain why. You don't really kind of go into the detail on why you maybe think it's not that great. You're just like, it's good. Because watching the first episode, I'm like, yeah, I like the premise. It's a very fun one. Nothing new, It's a different take on it. I like the weird twist angle they had at the end. They establish a lot of mystery behind certain characters, which is always fun. But I just feel like it's going to end up being the level of Shy where you just watch it and you watch it all the way through. Because the first episode of Shy was really good.
Yeah,
it was really good. And then the season just kind of
petered.
It just kind of dipped down a little bit and it stayed at that level the whole way through. Just kind of all the way to the end. And I have that similar sensation with Go Go Loser Ranger right now where like the first episode was good. It was really good. Enjoyed it. I think it's just gonna kind of taper and stay level, and that's it. Like it's not gonna have highs, it's not gonna have lows. It's just gonna be right in the middle. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I don't need every show this season to be a top banger of any kind. Like there's enough on my list already that I'm just ecstatic about. So
I was gonna say, let's get into it, because I don't think there's anything else that's like middle of the ground for me. I think I've gotten all my middle of the shows out of my system. I think the rest are like fantastic and above.
Yep.
For whatever reason. So start talking to me. What have you really been enjoying?
Okay, I'll start with the easy ones, which are Konosuba.
Yep, I haven't started it yet, but it's on my list.
And Mushoku Tensei. Like those are the easy ones because they're next seasons, right? Well, for Mushoku Tensei, it's core 2. Yep. But like Konosuba season 3, there's no break. It starts off as if you had seen the movie, which, spoiler alert, you should probably go see the movie.
I have not watched the movie, so good thing.
You should watch the movie. Because it's a direct continuation of the end of the movie. So it's like it is no like recap. It's like we're starting our next adventure. And because it's like Konosuba and it's fast paced and jokes are flying like just constantly, you're just like, Jesus Christ, slow down. But no, it was the same Konosuba from the first 2 seasons and the movie. The jokes all hit. The delivery is excellent. That's primarily why I laugh so much, as the deliveries. I was laughing at just the parts where they go Konosuba, Konosuba, and he goes, "Hi, my name is Konosuba," like just in the background, like off in the distance. Like that part it always kills me. It like every time. I don't know why. It just that funny like interactions between the characters are so good. But I did enjoy the first episode. I think this season, again, this is the classic just comedy one for a good laugh and chuckle. And then Mushoku Tensei is just kind of what I expected, more of the continuation of the last season. It's already started off as even more of a slice of life than where the last season ended, and I'm like, I'm not that upset. I'm not mad. Well, we can take a little break from adventuring, Rudius did a lot in his first, however, how old is he now? He's 16, I think, 15,
something like that.
So he did a lot.
He's in his mid to late teens.
He did a lot in his first 12 years of being reincarnated. So you can give him a little break. But
yeah, I'm caught up on that one right now. I actually watched the newest episode this evening. And it's fantastic. It's more of what I wanted. Weirdly enough, I don't know where the show goes from this newest episode. So this past episode that came out this last weekend and a part of the one from the weekend before is the entirety of volume 18 of the manga. So like it covered a lot of material in a short amount of time, but it didn't feel like the pacing was off in any sort of way. They just kind of skipped some of the filler stuff in the manga, which was fine.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I bet a lot of people listening, if they are watching, are probably like, this whole fucking last season is filler, man. There's like nothing happening.
Why does he have erectile dysfunction?
Yeah. He has a curse on him, Frank. God.
Yeah, well,
and now it's been lifted because he thought a guy was a guy, but the guy was a girl, and he found her, her.
Anyways,
Sylphie.
Yeah. Sylphie, I found you.
Yeah. I will say the one scene of him where they're this is not that graphic, people, so calm down. Where they're taking a bath together, and he's just like, it's happening. He just like rips her out of the bed, carries her like a sack of potatoes over his arm, and just like eats her. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And then she's just like, Rudy, and I'm like, Rudy, Shreddy.
Ruby. Well, no, it's Rudy. Do. I did forget to mention one thing that is kind of like in my mediocre list. I'm very sorry, because this one is legitimately not on live chart.
No.
It's the double feature movie, Kura Yukaba and Kura Merukagari. Kura Merukagari.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Second time, nailed it.
Got it.
It's like a double feature movie-esque thing. They both exist in the same world, I suppose. I'm not entirely sure. I watched half of one of the movies, and It's interesting. I like the plot. It's just basically about a detective investigating disappearances in like basically an underground like black market type world where the police just have no jurisdiction. Like if they go down there, they're completely fucked. So it's like a police officer has like a private detective help them figure out who's
isn't that just Dorohedoro?
People. No, not really. There's no like lizard people, but
there's a magician world where there's like all rules.
No, it's in the same world. It's like literally in a subway. So like it's like an underground part of the subway. But I've watched about half of the one movie. It's good. I think the plot is fine. What really stands out is the art and the art style and the direction and the animation. It is incredible. It is. I mean, granted, you have a little bit of a movie budget there, but everything feels watercolor painted, but it's come to life. Like it feels very, of course Howl's Moving Castle. You know the castle.
Are you about to ask me if I don't know Howl's Moving Castle?
No. I was about to say, you know how distinct feeling the castle feels compared to everything else?
Yes.
It feels like the castle brought to life, but it's a whole world of that. It feels fantastic. I really enjoy it, and the 3D elements that they do use in it are gorgeous. I think that it's very pretty. As to whether the story, how the rest of it pans out, it's to be determined, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So that one is still kind of like my middle ground list of I'm not sure like how it'll end, but I'm enjoying it so far.
But to be clear, those are movies. So they're not like...
They're hour long. They're not necessarily a TV show, but they're not a feature-length film.
Are there more of them coming out?
There's two. There's just 2 episodes.
Yeah, so they're just short. They're just short. Yeah.
But other shows that I'm thoroughly enjoying, I will say, just to kind of that was my like, oops, I forgot this one. Oopsies. Spice and Wolf, Merchant Meets the Wise Wolf. So I recently watched all of the original series in preparation to see what the differences between the two were going to be like. I am thoroughly enjoying the remake. I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say about the difference in art direction, but I believe that the art direction follows the manga more precisely than the predecessor did, if I remember correctly. But art style be damned, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Like the first episode is about the same. There's like one difference that I can make out, and it was like a character that they interact with was a girl in the original and is a man in the new one. But other than that, I mean, it's been a pretty faithful adaptation so far. But yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying the adaptation so far, and it's a plus. I did watch the first episode dubbed, and then the second episode subbed because the first episode or second episode isn't dubbed yet. But that they brought back the original voice cast for the 2 main characters in the dub, I really enjoy that, and I really appreciate that, because watching the original show so close to this new one, I really enjoyed the dub casting of the original. So Spice and Wolf is fantastic. If you haven't watched it, I think it's fine to just watch it now instead of watching the original and then going back to the new one. So, what about you? Give us some more.
More? I think I only have 3 left.
Do you?
I think I'm at the end of my list. I was just checking through Live Chart, which is why I was fumbling around and messing up the recording.
I've got 1, 2. 2. Buckle my shoe. 3.
You already said
4.
3.
I've got 4.
Okay. Well, some of ours overlap, I know.
Probably.
I think most of ours overlap at this point.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm going to go... All right. Well, go through your 4 from last to first in terms of like level of excitement for the season. So start at 4. You start there, and then I'll go to my 3rd.
Okay, hold on. I gotta put this in order then, because...
Oh my god, it's not hard. There's 4. You started off the fucking podcast being I watched 18. I don't have a life.
This is probably the only one you haven't watched then, and it is the number 4 for reasons.
Try me,
Bartender bitch. Glass of God.
Yeah, I haven't started that one.
Bartender Glass of God, it's nothing outstanding, it's nothing like mind-blowing, but in my opinion, it's great. Am a very I very much enjoy consuming alcohol, not in the sense of like I want to get fucked up, but I really do enjoy the taste of alcohol. And specifically just like drinks in general. And so watching a show all about different drinks being made for different visitors not knowing what they want or what they essentially need in that point in time, because it's a show revolving around a bartender who basically reads people, reads their mood, reads what they're, what's going on with them and what they may be doing as like a life profession, and then just making them a drink based off of what he feels like they should be drinking at that point in time. And that to me is fascinating in and of itself, but also just I love watching all the different cocktails be made and looking at them and being like, that's pretty, I want to try that.
Yeah.
And so I've started a segment on our shorts channel in which I've been making the cocktails, which I have to redo the second one because I by accidentally deleted it.
Oopsie.
Oopsie poops. But yeah, no, it's been fantastic. I've tried a few drinks that I have never tried before, and I've enjoyed at least one of them. So, but it's just one of those shows that I also know is very calming and relaxing. So for me to it like comes out on a Wednesday. So for me to come home from work, just sit down on the couch and just relax to just something just very soothing, like this show, it really puts me at ease, and I really enjoy this for that reason.
It's like the game Valhalla as an anime.
Sure, I've never played it, so
damn it. Okay,
I know I have it here. I just haven't played it.
No. Depressing. All right, so now we're on to our final three.
Correctamundo.
I honestly think our final three it's just a matter of what order we have them in, because there are three that we haven't said yet.
So let's
surprisingly
get the three then. Let's get the three out there on the list. Kaiju.
Yep.
Number 8. Jellyfish.
Yep.
And then Windbreaker.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Windbreaker.
As your third?
As my third.
Mine's Kaiju.
I'm putting Kaiju at 2 and Jellyfish at 1.
Yeah, Jellyfish deserves to be 1. Jellyfish can't swim at night, by the way, is the full title.
But let's start with Windbreaker, just for the fact that as to why I have it at my number 3 is the sense of I've never found a show about delinquents that I've actually enjoyed all the way through. So there's a part of me that is holding out of just like my true excitement of like, this is it. This is fantastic. This is great.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit. But there's that part of me that's holding out. But what I've seen so far, the first 3 episodes have been nothing short of fantastic. I think that the cast of characters are all interesting that we've been introduced to. The world that they're thrown into is well crafted. I'm really enjoying it, and to boot, the animation's fantastic. Like, animation for me is always going to be the last thing I really talk about. Like, I want to know more about the plot and characters and the world building, and if it looks pretty, fantastic. So to me, I mean, just to boot with that, like everything else, and then the animation be fantastic is just icing on the cake.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have much to say. Delinquent shows normally don't get me just because I'm like, if I want to watch edgy emo teen lord high school kids, I'll just go watch my shitty shows from like when I was growing up on like, the adult Nick shows and the adult Cartoon Network shows. But this one, yeah, I mean, this one we kind of threw off based on the premise and I think the name too. We were just like, Windbreaker, what the hell? No, it was really good. I thought it was a really good first episode. And I think the twist of it, if you can even call it a twist, I guess, was what really got me towards the end of the episode when they're like, oh yeah, by the way, like this school protects the town and the townspeople cheer on these kids when they beat the fuck out of random strangers.
They don't call the cops. They call the kids.
They call the kids. And I'm like, okay, all right. I can see that. Cool. I'm into it. So, yeah. I had that as my number 2 only because I thought it was very impressive top to bottom. Like, the way that they've really early on kind of ground this main character in his personality and kind of his history
Yeah.
To where you're like, you know exactly what you're getting into episode 1 with this guy. And then they introduce the premise, I guess, so to speak, of the anime on top of like some other extra characters. Like, it was a really well-rounded first episode where it didn't feel like you were getting all of this shoved down your throat. It was all just pleasantly, provided to you. Yeah, you're like, here's your first course, sir, and your second course, and your desserts. Thank you. Come again. So I'm excited to continue this one.
Fair enough. Then give me why Kaiju number 8 is your number 3 for this all intents and purposes list. Because my number 1 isn't Jellyfish. My number 1 is Train to the End of the World. But for what we have,
I'll tell you why you're wrong. Kaiju number 8 is my 3. So it's hard to say because I know I'm gonna get flack for it when people hear me say this, but whatever. I thought it was way too goofy. I thought it was like, and I'm caught up on the manga. Like, I've read the manga, and yes, like, the characters at the beginning are supposed to be more jovial. I get that, okay? Like, and there's some funny scenes, but it seemed way too jokey, ha ha. Like, this is all just fun and games, la la la. Bullshit, where like when the actual intense scene happens, I just didn't care. Like, if I hadn't read it, I would just been like, this fucker's gonna die, and that's like the weird twist at the beginning. Like, oh well. like I didn't have any sense of fear because everything was just presented as, wow, what, this is all quirky. Oh, he's so good at cleaning out the poop, all the poop from the kaijus. He's just a poop machine. Look at him go. He's great at it. Woo.
Wowie.
Yeah, so zany. Like, it was way too much that. And it's not even like the animation too with it. It was just like, I don't remember the first few chapters being like that. And again, like, it's been a while since I've read them, so like I said, I'm sure people will be like, you obviously don't know what you're talking about. It was all goofy at the beginning. And I understand that the main character, Kafka, is like this older guy that's sort of given up, but he tries
He's only 32. He's not old.
He's old as dirt. Everyone just says he's old as shit. Everyone refers to him as like grandpa later on.
I'll be 32 in like
Too
just
bad,
over a month.
Grandpa. I'm already putting you in a home. Like,
please put me in a home so I don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, you got it. Make sure you get the worst caretakers as well. Eat your
Ben
pudding.
Stiller from fucking
Happy Gilmore. Yeah,
exactly.
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, like that's kind of why I have it at 3. Again, like I know it's gonna be good because I've read it. So
yeah,
and I know it's gonna get more and more serious, but it's that first episode impression that's just so important to me that Kaiju number 8 didn't land because I know what it's going to turn into. And so It's just the tone of it is so odd that it's hard for me to be like, this at some point is going to get serious, right? Like, even like Jujutsu Kaisen, right? I'm trying to think of like other anime that are, have humor in them, but are very intense. Like Attack on Titan has like no humor. And it's
you could even say like My Hero Academia, the first 5 seasons were like kind of happy-go-lucky, goofy with a little bit of seriousness to like season 6, which was just serious.
Well, but I don't want to get too far off track, but like I guess that's a good example of just one where like the tone changes for a reason, right? Like, and they established early on in My Hero at least that like the shit's gonna go down. Like the villains are gaining more power, and All for One is getting, he's getting back his strength and this and that, right? Like, so you have an early on kind of reminder in the back of your head, like it's not gonna be all happy-go-lucky school life. It's gonna get bad, and it's gonna get bad pretty quickly, right? Kaiju number 8 is set up like, oh, these funny monsters, and they just explode. They just explode like nothing. They're like big old balloons full of blood. They just pop, explode. This is easy shit. And they can just goof around and be all funny about it. Like, that's why I didn't think that episode 1 was all that great. Again, I know it's going to get better. It's not, it wasn't to the level I was expecting. And again, to draw the actual comparison to Jujutsu Kaisen, like episode 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty heavy, albeit it's still funny. There's still humor in it. It's still a pretty heavy, like, first episode to where you kind of have the understanding of, all right, yes, the characters have personalities. They're not always just serious, just pieces of meat like Attack on Titan characters are. Attack on Titan characters are legit just very serious pieces of meat that will occasionally get eaten or explode from Titans. That's about it. Right?
Right.
They have more personality and more characteristics in Jujutsu Kaisen. So yes, they're gonna laugh, they're gonna cry, they're gonna do all that stuff. That is early on established. Kaiju Number 8 just comes off as like, this dude should have just been a comedian. This dude should just go into comedy because that's what he's good at. But instead he cleans up kaiju guts and then the big twist at the end, which we're not gonna spoil.
So for me, I have it at my number 2 because, well, for this intensive purpose list, I think we're forgetting the fact that Jobless Reincarnation is somewhere in our top 3, and this would probably push Kaiju out.
Yeah.
But to me, for this intensive purpose list that we were talking about, Kaiju for me is number 2 because A, I know what we're getting into. B, I enjoy the goofiness because I feel like the goofiness is kind of still throughout the series, even to somewhat the extent of the current stuff. I feel like there's still, it's very brief.
You fucking psycho.
No, like
this is a conversation for a different time, but you are a fucking maniac.
I feel like there's a flashback or two in there that make it a little goofier.
But they're not funny. What the hell are you reading? We are not reading. You're reading Gaiju 69. You're reading something else completely different.
Anyways, regardless, I enjoy the goofiness of it. I enjoy the story of it, and I just really like big monsters, and that it's scratching that itch. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, because it'll be, you and I can more so agree about this. This show, what a fucking delight. What a fantastic delight. Have you, I know you're like, oh, episode one.
I swear to God, if you ask me what I think you're about to ask me, I will go through this monitor and fucking snap your neck.
Okay, so episode 1.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yes. It's a fantastic season opener. It's an original anime. It just set a tone for its show. It gave us 2 of the main characters. There's nothing really I don't even know what to say about this show because it's just a delight to watch.
I'll say something. This show is my definitive winner for original anime of the year and on my top 5 list for anime of the year.
Bold choice, Cotton.
Nope, it's not. It's not. If you read any of the reviews online or any of the feedback online from fellow fans, not like critics, you like actual anime fans that watch through and through, the general consensus is this show is absolutely incredible.
It is.
Like this show is on par with the types of like a Bocchi the Rock where like people didn't come in with any expectations. It's an original anime. Like no one really knew anything about it. Granted, Bocchi the Rock had a manga, but there wasn't really a full adaptation of it in English, like right around when it was airing, I think. Like the actual physical volumes came out later. So like still no one really had any ideas going into it of what it was going to be like. And it just from the beginning blew you away. This is on par with that. The story, it's not even the story. It's the storytelling. It's done in such a poetic manner that I cannot help but be captivated by it. Like it's the narration of everything that is so incredible about this anime. I honestly, we could probably spend a full episode just talking about episode 1 of it because it is that level of just the all aspects of it, from the animation, the storytelling, the music, the choreography. Like it is absolutely incredible. Like so, bar none, just a perfect 10 out of 10 for a first episode. Like what you want in a first episode is this.
And that's fine and dandy. I agree that it is phenomenal. I agree that it is in the upper echelon of this season, no matter what. But to me, I can't give it the best original because Train to the End of the World is also an original show, and I've been enjoying that show absolutely thoroughly, like to the utmost.
Hey, Frank.
What?
I have the record button here. I have the power to end this.
Sure,
recording.
You can end it, but you're not going to say goodbye to everybody.
No, I'm gonna have the last word, and the last word is Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night is the best of this season, is the best original of this year, and will be in the list for anime of the year.
I don't know about best original of the year. That's just because we don't know how this is going to end. We don't know how Train's going to end.
No, like I said,
right now,
this is first impressions, right? This episode is first impressions. This is not, we don't come into first impressions going like tiptoeing around, walking on eggshells like, oh, I don't know. It might be good. It might be bad. Okay. We don't know. I want to be bold.
Wonder Egg Priority into this. Episode 1 of Wonder Egg Priority was a fucking masterpiece.
Yes.
But here we are at the fucking end of Wonder Egg Priority. They couldn't stick the goddamn landing because it was a fucking shit show.
The end of Wonder Egg Priority.
We don't know how anything is going to end.
The end of Wonder Egg Priority that came out 3 years ago. We're still talking about that.
You're saying that? No, I'm bringing an example into the mix of like how an original can fuck up.
Yes,
how it can fuck up at any given moment.
The same is true. The same is true for Train. The same is true for Train.
This is true, which is why I'm not saying either is better than the other. I'm just waiting until the end of the season.
This podcast cannot function if we go into every first impressions, what do you think episode just going, I think it's going to be great. End of story. I want to be bold with my predictions. I want to actually be assertive based on first impressions, first episodes. That is what this whole podcast is about right now, is first impressions of an anime. My first impression of Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night is that it's going to win original anime of the year, and it's going to be in the running for best anime of the year. That is my first impression. You're right, Frank. I don't know how it's going to end because, spoiler alert, I'm not clairvoyant. I'm not omniscient. I'm not omnipotent either. I don't know anything about everything, and I can't be everywhere all at once, okay? So yes, I don't know how it's gonna end, but I can tell you one thing, episode 1 of Jellyfish got me a lot more than any of the other anime that I've watched this season so far by a long shot. There. I'm sweating now.
Yeah, no, I will say that the first episode of Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night was phenomenal. I think it's so hard to talk about it because I've seen the other 2 episodes.
No, I know. I get
that. That's what's killing me because like I've seen this show. I know the tone of the show, and I also know the tone of Train to the End of the World. And I can't pick which one I like more because they're so different, and I don't know how either of them are gonna fucking continue. If they both go on this train, pun intended, the same way that they've been going on, I won't be able to pick because they're both phenomenal.
And you know what? That's a good thing at the end of the day because here's one thing that we can agree upon about this season is that this season, hands down, I do feel like we repeat ourselves over and over again, but I can honestly definitively say that this season probably has the most incredible the best variety, but anime that aren't even on like lists of continuing series. Like we didn't talk about Reincarnated as a Slime. We didn't talk about, I mean, granted, My Hero and Demon Slayer aren't out yet, but like we're not talking about those shows, and yet this season is already on the list of like, oh my God, can it get any better than it, right?
Yeah.
And we still have those. I mean, we didn't ever really go into detail about Mushoku Tensei or Konosuba. I was just like, Konosuba's great. It's just like old Konosuba, and Mushoku Tensei is just continuing on from last arc, and it's still awesome. Like, the fact that we're gushing about all these other anime that are way down lists on Live Chart, right? Like, Train is towards the very bottom of that website for spring season, and yet it's on the top of your list.
Which is a shame.
It's on the top of your list, and it's in the top 3 for mine, right? Like, this is a prime example of the amazingness, the awesomeness of anime, and the fucking curse it is, in that we're getting incredible shows now, more frequently than we are getting bad ones, but the volume they're coming out at is fucking you cannot keep up with it. It is impossible to watch. If you can watch 17 or 18 series all the way through in the span of 3 months, which is the spring season, I will throw you a party. I will fly
You are probably
in.
doing this professionally.
Yes. I'm speaking directly to you, Frank, is what I'm saying. Is I will fly in a whole group of people to throw you a party, because I can only assume you've done nothing with your life for the past 3 months, because God.
You couldn't pay me to watch some of the shows that are coming out this season.
Well, yeah. But again, the point is,
I know.
We're getting stellar lineups of anime more often than not now, but the volume they're coming out at is something that you cannot keep up with. And that's sort of it's the double-edged sword, right?
And there are shows that we haven't even started, that we haven't even talked about on this episode.
Right.
Like for you, there's 2 that I am sorely sad that you have not even started to just even like tell me about, and that's Tonbo.
Yep.
Which I was very much so excited to listen to you rant about, whether it was good or bad.
That's the golf one. I don't know if it's
on Amazon.
Is it on? Fuck, it's on.
It's on Amazon.
All right.
And then the other one is Tadaima Okairi.
The BL one?
Yeah, you said you were going to watch it.
No, I didn't. I said my wife's going to watch it.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to watch it.
I was going to watch it? No.
I was excited to hear what you had to say about it.
It looks cute, though.
And look, it does. That's why I thought you were going to watch it.
No, that'd be for my wife.
But then there's shows like that. There's shows that I haven't even started. Like, I'm still catching up on the original all of Black Butler so I can watch the new stuff. Nearly there. I'll start it like in a week or 2, but nearly there. And then there's a show which should technically be under the winter season that's on the spring season for live chart, and that's Ninja Kamui, which is on Max.
Oh my god!
Like, that's a show that I've heard nothing but amazing things about, and I just haven't started it.
So we haven't said High Dive, but Whisper Me a Love Song and Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night are both on High Dive. So to sort of wrap this up in a nice
another one that's on High Dive
shittily bow, probably. There's a couple on High Dive. We have Crunchyroll, High Dive, Hulu, Amazon, and Max. Go fuck yourself. God damn it.
Yes. But thank you all for joining us this week. We greatly appreciate it. There is a fuck ton out there to watch. So please, let us know what you've been watching. Let us know what we have not covered that you highly suggest, because we may or may not get to it. We probably won't with the way this season is going, because holy crap, this season is stacked.
Good God.
But thank you again for joining us this week. We will be back next week with a brand new episode. So until then, Spark Triumph. We'll see you then.